and welcome to Unfiltered Career Talks with Margaret Buj. Today I'm interviewing Jamal Ahmed, renowned global privacy expert and award-winning CEO. And we're going to talk about how to break into the privacy industry. So a very interesting topic and one I don't know too much about. So Jamal, would you want to start with introducing yourself and tell us a little bit about your career journey?
Yeah, thank you. And thank you very much for having me, Margaret. So my name is Jamal. I am the CEO of Peasy and Privacy Experts. And around 2018, when this GDPR thing started coming in, lots of people started getting very anxious. And businesses was like, oh, all of these fines are coming. We need to do this. We need to do that. We need great privacy consultants. And one of the things I found businesses were challenged with was really understanding the technical requirements and understanding how to operationalize the law in a way that means that they can protect their reputation, that they can win the trust of their customers and continue to do business. So I did that for a number of years and I'm still continuing to do that. And we've had the opportunity to work with some of the large multinational companies as well as some governments as well. And I regularly feature on BBC in articles, giving some privacy advice. And over the last couple of years, what I found I'm really passionate about is helping more people break into the privacy sector. Because one of the things that I noticed is great is we go and we help the businesses as consultants, but when we leave, they don't really have the staff there to carry on, or when they do have the staff, they're not empowered to a world-class level to really solve the problems for those multinational companies. So I started the Privacy Pros Academy, and over the last couple of years, I've been mentoring hundreds of people all over the world to become world-class privacy professionals so they can become the go-to privacy expert and really have a thriving career. And together, we can help every woman, every man, and every child enjoy freedom over their personal information.
So before I ask you about some different strategies, can you actually share what kind of roles are available within the privacy sector?
That is such a great question. There are so many different types of roles. So you've got, first of all, you've got the management role. So that's where people are actually thinking about, okay, what's the policy I need to bring into this? How do I manage processes? Then you've got analyst roles where they're looking at specific challenges, things like impact assessments, where the risk is coming in. Then you've got individuals who are actually more on the tech side. So privacy engineering, having a look at how the apps work, how the website works, what cookies to use, how not to use it, how to bring in encryption and other privacy enhancing technologies. And then you've got the government side, which is people who are looking to bring in laws, bring in regulations, having a look at how to monitor and enforce all of this. So it's a very wide spectrum.
Thank you for sharing. And what are actually the best strategies to create a CV that creates the attention of hiring managers? Like what makes a candidate stand out to hiring managers? And I know it depends on the different position, but if you could just give us some general advice on how to stand out to hiring managers.
Yeah, so I think the first thing people need to really appreciate is there's no such thing as a template CV. Like we can't just have one CV and roll that out. What we need to do is tailor every CV for every single role. And in that CV, the first important thing is the personal profile. So you need to provide a compelling reason why you're going to stand out from the other candidates and competitors who are all wanting this amazing job and say, hey, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I do better than everyone else, and this is why you really need to hire me, and this is what I'm looking to develop and grow as part of my journey as well. A lot of people don't actually say what it is that they're looking for from the role or where they're trying to build their career. And I found that by adding that into the bio, it piques the attention. And when we submit a CV, that's all we're trying to do is get the attention of the recruiter, get the attention of the hiring manager to give them a reason to give you a call and say, hey, let's see, this CV looks good. Let's see if they sound interesting. It's that qualification or screening call. And there's a number of things that we need to do beyond the profile. So once you've got the profile section sorted, the next thing you want to do is immediately show them that you're competent to do this job. So highlight your key technical skills and the soft skills that you bring to the table. Now, with privacy, one of the biggest challenges is the soft skills seem to be lacking in lots of candidates. They might have the certifications, they might have the technical skills, but we don't work as islands. We need to go and communicate those things with the rest of the business. We need to explain those requirements in a way that everyone can understand. And that could be the board and your CEO, and you need to explain things to them. And it could be all the way to the school leaver who's joined the call center and is taking calls and getting information of individuals. So the communication skills come in. So once you've highlighted your skills, the next section I would say is the current role that you're doing and the previous roles. One of the biggest mistakes I see people doing is just listing all of the roles and all of the responsibilities. That is something that you could do, but it's not going to help you stand out. What you want to do is look at the job description and say, hey, these requirements, how can I demonstrate I've actually delivered on these before? Even if you have never had a privacy role, there's going to be skills, investigative skills, analytical skills, communication skills that you can highlight in your previous roles and show how you've actually demonstrated you have the competence to deliver on what's going to be required of you in this role. So highlight key experiences, use numbers and evidence wherever relevant, and always make sure that you speak about your achievements rather than I opened up Word and I wrote 5 letters a day kind of thing.
Absolutely. And that's the advice I always give to people. Quantify your experience, make sure that you provide evidence of your impact, not just what you've done, but the evidence of your impact. So how would you do that in the privacy industry? I know it depends on the position, but can you just give me maybe just a couple of examples of how you can quantify your experience as a privacy professional?
Okay, yeah, great question. So how do we actually demonstrate evidence to say, hey, we've done this great
Absolutely.
thing? So let's say, for example, one of the things privacy professionals would have to manage early on in their career, potentially, is responding to subject access requests, or when an individual says, hey, I want you to delete my data, or I want you to correct my data, or I want to see what information you have, is responding to those. Now, the law is very clear on this. It says you have 1 month to respond to those. So we need people who are efficient, but we also need people who are effective. So one of the things you could do is say, if you, let's say you've had some kind of a legal background or case handling background, is you could say, I achieved 95% of my case handling targets week in, week out, or every quarter, or how you exceeded your performance target. So someone can see, the hiring manager can see, this person can get the job done, and they've got a track record of delivering in very time constrained circumstances.
Yeah, that's a great example. Thank you. And what advice would you give to people who want to build a credible brand on through LinkedIn? Like, how do you actually leverage authentic storytelling in particular to develop that personal brand?
All right. Number one thing is most people on LinkedIn will just go and read through stuff without liking, without commenting, without interacting. And so 90% of people on LinkedIn are actually invisible followers. So the first thing you can do to stand out straight away is just get visible. And if you're not confident yet writing posts about what you're learning, what you're sharing, that's okay, because what you can do is add value by engaging with people in the privacy industry who are the thought leaders, people in the privacy industry who are actually talking about relevant topics. So go and find those people and start interacting with them, like their content, offer your opinion, ask questions, because that gets you visible. And then the next step from that is talk about what you're learning. Even if you just picked up a book and you're reading about the book and you're learning something, share your reflections on that. What a lot of people do is they will repost other people's content, or they will regurgitate something that doesn't make you stand out. Okay, yeah, it gets you visible, but they could have Googled that. They want to know what you think. They want to know what value you bring to the table. Because essentially, when they're going to pay you 50, 60, 70, 80,000 pounds to come and work for them, they're not going to need someone who can go on Google or pick up a book and repeat what they're saying. They need someone who can actually take that, analyze the information, and explain to the business what the business needs to do as a result. And so when you demonstrate you're already doing that on LinkedIn, then it makes you stand out and it makes you the superior candidate. And oftentimes when my mentees do this, they find that job offers come to them in the inbox from recruiters who've noticed them, rather than having to apply for roles.
Absolutely, and that's definitely one of the big benefits of having a good personal brand. And how do you actually network effectively using LinkedIn? Like, let's say you're looking for a new position. Like, how do you actually attract these highly sought after positions? How do you network effectively using LinkedIn? Like, let's say you want a new position in the privacy field. What's the best way to network via LinkedIn?
Great question. So first, I will say, figure out the kind of company that you want to work for. What are the values that you have, and how do those values align? And then once you've identified a business, the number of employees they're going to have, the sector they're in, then go and connect with privacy professionals and other people in those businesses, and start finding out a little bit more about the business and network with those individuals. One of the things that we found is really successful, actually, is if you are applying for a role, if you want to get involved in a company, then go and speak to other people in the company and say, hey, I've got an interview coming up with someone on your team or with someone in the company. I want to understand a little bit more about challenges that you have. I want to understand more about the values, and really get to know them and show them, because those people will mention in passing, oh, by the way, are you speaking to this person that just reached out to me on LinkedIn? And that's going to make you stand out, and that's going to help you with the networking. And sometimes people will say, hey, we're not recruiting right now, but guess what? I have a friend who had just asked me if I have anyone that I would recommend to them. And what we talk about here is the hidden job market. By the time you apply for a role, it's often too late. If you think about how jobs come up, The business has a challenge. They need to try and solve it. They try and figure it out. And then they get to a point where they're like, you know what? We can't actually solve this problem. We need to hire talent to bring them in to do this. And so they're going to look around the team and say, hey, is there anyone internally that can do that? If there isn't, then they're going to say, hey, do you know someone that can do that? And by the time they get hold of recruiters and advertise the job, a lot of the times they would have actually spoken to people who would be a great fit because they would have been recommended by their colleagues. And that's when networking comes in. If people know you are someone that brings value to the table, if people know you're someone that's looking for opportunities, then people love to help people. So they'll be more than happy to put you in touch with the recruiter or the hiring manager.
Thank you for that great advice. And any other final words for anyone looking to get into the privacy field?
For anyone that's looking to get into the privacy field, I would say go and listen to podcasts, find YouTube videos, and really understand what being a privacy professional is all about. One half is understanding the laws and the technicalities and getting certified, but the other half is all of the soft skills, how we speak with people, how we communicate, how we write reports. One of the things you have to do as a privacy professional is write privacy notices. And privacy notices need to be clear and concise, so you can't fill them up with legalese. So improve your writing skills, improve your communication skills, and really start building on the technical aspects and think about what it is that you want to do to make an impact in the field of privacy. It's such a young space, which means that anyone can come in with artificial intelligence. We don't even know what's going on. There's new laws, regulations coming in, and that impacts on how our personal information is going to be used as part of those AI solutions. So it's a great time to come in and get involved, be part of the forerunners and make a real strong impact. So figure out your reason why. And when recruiters ask you, why do you want this job? Make sure you can explain why you would love to get into privacy and how you want to make an impact, because that's going to get them excited. Everybody wants to work with winners. And when you stand out from everyone else and no one's actually thought about why they want this other than I was bored in my rascal and I want to make more money, it's going to really set you head and shoulders apart from everyone else.
Thank you so much for this advice, and thank you for sharing all your tips. If people want to work with you or they just want to find out more about you, how can they get in contact with you?
Best way to reach out to me is on LinkedIn. So you can follow me on LinkedIn. My name is Jamal Ahmed. You can pick up a copy of the Easy Peasy Guide to the GDPR, where I break down the GDPR in an easy to understand language. And I've also got the #1 data privacy career podcast, Privacy Pros, available on all major podcast platforms.
Thank you so much. And I will also link these links below the video. So thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you soon on another video. Bye for now.